First of all, thank you to all the organizers for giving this opportunity, right? And yesterday when I was walking back, I was thinking, what should I talk about, right? What actually comes to my mind when I talk about or think about product management? I kind of rewinded the last few years and just kind of crunched it into one small thing, right? That small thing which I'm going to talk about, which to me is product management. Okay. So before I get started, I want all of you guys to do a very small thing. Yeah? I want all of you guys to smile. Look at each other and smile. Yeah? You feel happy about yourself? Absolutely. Smile is the most powerful thing in the world. Yeah? The most potent act and the most compelling reason to get stuff done. Yeah? It's just smile. Okay? So imagine if you could get your products to smile, what would your product be, right? Most of us wouldn't even imagine what that product would be if the product starts smiling, okay? So let's see over the next few minutes as to how we can get products to actually smile, okay? Bringing smile to products. Again, as I was thinking through my journey over the last few years around products, I dwelled upon a few important aspects and I just started thinking through them, and the word which got formed was actually smile. Okay? Let's start with the first one. S. Simplicity. Right? The most common thing, the most said thing about products, but the most difficult things to build in a product is the simplicity. Right? Have you ever been to a coffee shop to drink a cup of coffee and you say, I want coffee, and the person on the other side of the counter says, okay sir, black or white, 2 cups of this or 2 cups of that, brown sugar, white sugar, no sugar, right? So I just want coffee, right? A simple product called coffee, and this guy brings in all the complexities. So customers essentially want simple products. We are customers as well, right? We want very simple products. We don't want complications. But where do these complications come from? I will honestly admit it's us as product leaders and product managers who add that complexity into the product. Yeah? We always want to do something more under the pretext of value addition, and we take the simplicity out of it. Yeah? So getting that simplicity back into the product, to me, is one important factor. As product leaders, we should all hold ourselves, understand what customer wants, keep the customer in the middle of all our discussions, right? And take the customer's view or the customer's journey to the product. Yeah? Measure. I believe a lot of you guys would be from technology organizations like me who do a lot of product development, and during the development phase, we measure a lot of stuff. Yeah? We measure what is the quality of my product, what is the velocity of my product, right? How good actually my product is doing on the engineering metrics. But how often do we measure the value which this product was supposed to deliver to the customer? Or what is the value vis-a-vis the purpose of this product? Seldom we don't. Right? More or less, we are just restricting ourselves into product development measures and not actually what influence the product is making in the market or is making to the customers. Yeah? We need to go out, we need to talk to the customers, we need to understand, right, what they are doing with that product. Are they just browsing it, or actually they are doing a transaction which will get some money for my organization as well? Because that's an objective, right? That's an objective of the product. Yeah. So measuring a product throughout its life cycle becomes very important for any product leader or a product manager. Incremental. There have been many companies and many cases where they have taken 3 to 4 years to launch a product, but they have taken 3 to 4 months to fail after the launch. Yeah, the reason is they were waiting for one good day to launch the product or take it to the market. They were putting everything onto the product and were waiting for that fine day when the product was totally rich. Is that the best way? Probably not. We need to start developing a product incrementally. And if I relate it back, simplicity will lead to an incremental development. Yeah. You need to first understand what your customers want at the first step and then put it out in the market. We need to start delivering that value very early and very often, because there are lots of competition out there who can just kind of, taking the old word, the word from the previous one, bulldoze our products, right, if you're not there in the market. And there is an essential cycle in product development, which I call it feature to feedback cycle and feedback to feature cycle. Yeah. So I take a feature and then put it out in the market, get the feedback, take that feedback, develop a new feature. If I can reduce that duration, probably I will win the market, or definitely I will win the market. Lifelong. A lot of product managers whom I talk to, meet, they come and say, oh, we have gone live, my job is done, tell me what next, right? I have completed the product specifications, my job is done, what next, right? But what I go and tell them, product management is a lifelong thing, right? The life starts only when the product goes live. You can't just abandon the product the day it has gone live and say, support teams now go work on the product or manage the product or let it be on an autopilot. That just won't happen, right? And that's not what it should be like. We need to start owning the product from its conception to infancy to kind of then towards the growing age and maturity. And more importantly, a good product manager or a good product leader will always have an eye for when the product has to come out of the market. Today, if you go to Google Play Store, yeah, you'll find so many apps which have not been used for last years or so, or months or so. Why? Because the product managers of those apps never even bother to take them off the market. They're just lying there. Yeah? In our organizations as well, especially big organizations, we have legacy products which have been lying there for ages, right? We need to kind of start taking them out. So a healthy product is a product which is nurtured by its product manager through the life, right? And then at a fine day, bring it out of the market. Give customers something new after that. And of course, emotional connect. Yeah. Why do you use a particular app on your phone? Have you ever realized that? Why do you use that with every second thing you do? You sip a cup of coffee and you're using that app. You get up from bed, you're using that app, right? Before going to sleep, you're using that app. Have you realized that there is an emotional connect which you're developing with that app? But then there are certain other apps which you just open once in 6 months or never open after installing. Or for that matter, any product. Yeah? So that emotional connect actually matters. Not a simple thing to do, right? Because emotions change by the hour, by the minute. So how do you develop a product which works with individuals, works with human beings? I'll give you an example. Now, I work for a product which directly lands in the hands of a customer. Right? The customer uses that product. So I work in retail, right? We run retail shops. Now, imagine you go and you do a billing for your basket, and then you pay the money. What comes out? What are you saying? It says, thank you, please take a receipt. Bye-bye, see you later. Yeah. Often that becomes very, very repetitive. Yeah. So just an example as to what we did. Last Christmas, we said we're going to build some emotional connect with this product. And we did a very small thing. This product runs in UK. We did a very small thing. As soon as the customer completed their shopping, instead of saying thank you, we said Merry Christmas. And there was an emotional connect, an immediate emotional connect, which translated into a lot of loyalty for that product. So we need to start harnessing the power of that emotion which runs in every individual. Again, something which we all aspire to do, but we seldom do that because it never comes on our priority list. So if you look at a product backlog, you will never find anything which will say, something has to be emotional about this product. It will never be there, right? But at the end of the day, what works is an emotional connect with the product. Yeah. So before I end this, I want to just tell you a small story. I always go back to my team and tell them, guys, build simple products, right? Build simple products. Build a products which everyone can use in the world. And they come back saying, Kavaldeep, name one product which is simple and everyone can use in the world. And I tell them, bananas. Yeah. Interestingly, bananas are the largest selling products in the world. People eat more bananas in the world than anything else worldwide. It's available everywhere. It's so simple that even monkeys can eat it properly. Yeah. So that is what we need to think. Think simple, think bananas, and that's where brilliant products emerge. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kavaldeep. So one of the premise of Product Leaders Forum is candid conversations. So no speaker is let go off the stage if he is not asked a question. So question from the audience, please.
As a speaker or as a lecturer, they always go for the one question which is like weird, awkward, or out of the box. Like that, even in a market survey or market research also, when one guy wants to have some agility in the product, or when some of the like let's say 10% of the crowd, 1% of the crowd is asking for some agility in the product, that becomes a hard talk in the manufacturing unit. So the entire product development team is looking for that 10% or 2%. Rest of the 98% are okay with our product, which is very simple and okay. But this 2% is like disturbing the entire product flow.
Yeah.
How to overcome this?
Absolutely. So just want to take a minute and talk about that market survey, right? So if you look at any market survey, not the outcome of the market survey, but the input into the market survey, you will realize that there is a lot of difference between the input into a market survey, right, versus the output. Output will say we need to think out of the box and build a very agile product which should work in a certain way, right? The input would be, guys, can you make this bottle a little bigger so that I can hold it properly? Yeah, that's what the customers are saying. So blindly taking the market survey probably may not be the best way to understand a customer. Blindly taking the output of the market survey. Now coming back to the other thing about 90-10 ratio, I think that's very important, right? While you will earn a lot of money from that 90%, that is your cash cow today, but your future is about that 10%. And products are built incrementally. There is a life cycle to the product. So anything which you have on that product today may not actually work probably in a year's time from now. So 90% of energy, if it is going for today's needs, probably 10% of your energy needs to go for towards the future as well.
Any other question?
The simple thing, very nice presentation first of all, very nice, well put. The middle one, when you said smile, the I incremental, fail fast. We also have this people saying that don't give me a half-baked product or a half-baked kind of thing. It's always a challenging to decide where to draw the line. Anything you can share from experience that would be helpful. Because
Sorry, can you just repeat that? How big?
usually people say, hey, don't give me half-baked, because that can be a
Half-baked.
half-baked.
Half-baked product. Okay.
So that's always a challenge to draw the line where this is good enough to do a successful launch as incremental versus, because we are already started with a fundamental problem solving approach, we are building this product.
Okay.
So anything that can be shared from experience, that will be great.
Absolutely. Since you're talking about baking, right? Let me tell you a story which involves my wife, right? And how incremental product development was taught to her. So she got into baking cakes, right? And she said, "I'm going to bake a cake and give it to a friend of hers for her birthday." The cake was an absolute mess. I had to buy a new cake and give it off, right? So what went wrong? She was doing product development, baking cake for the first time. So it was important to kind of first bake the cake, right? Now, of course, you cannot give a half-baked cake, but where it went wrong was not the cake, but the icing on top. Yeah. So when you bake a cake, you just bake the cake and make it well, right? Don't immediately think upon, oh, let me just put icing as well, or let me put some decoration on top of it. Yeah? Because that is the next increment which you need to go to. Right? Absolutely. So in product management, there's something called as minimum viable product, MVP, right? There has to be a very clear focus on MVP. Yeah? And then you build your product incrementally after that. But of course, never give a half-baked cake to the customer. They will never come back for the next bite. You have the mic.
Just to add upon, when you said cake, right? Your customer needs cake. How quick he needs or she needs, based on it, you can decide upon it. He wanted to have maybe wedding cake, right? If he wanted to have quick, then you can give first cupcake. So you can solve the problem now. So agree upon, right? Yeah, time to market and theme based and go iteration, what he said, right? Yeah, same thing.
I mean, this is a lot of valid theory, but to articulate it in some actionables or black and white technical stuff, that there's, I mean, on Google you'll find it if you search for UX value of UX images, you'll find a triangle. The bottommost part is called functional. Yeah, that's the minimum that every product has to have. The one on top of that is reliable. Yeah. The one on top of that is usable. Yeah. The one on top of that is convenient. The one above that is delightful. And the one above that is meaningful. Now, each one of them has a very crisp definition as well. Functional means worked as programmed or worked as designed. Reliable means available and accurate at all times. Yeah. Now MVPs will always have functional and reliable. Half cooked would be something functional with lots of bugs. Not allowed. Yeah. You can cut down on features, but don't cut down on quality. Point number one. So functional, how functional? Like he gave an example. So functional works as programmed or designed. On top of that is reliable, available and accurate. The one on top of that is more interesting now. For that you have to design a bit more, which is usable. From a user perspective, can be used without difficulty, means usable. Convenient is works like I think, I as in the user. That's what makes it convenient, and that's what makes it friendly. So user friendly is all these four basically. The one on top of that is delightful, which is an experience worth sharing. So what happened to WhatsApp? Fantastic experience worth sharing, madness. Yeah, it went in viral. And the topmost is meaningful, which is that emotional connect he talked about, which is it has got a personal significance. I cannot think of life without a smartphone or life without Google today. Yeah. And this is what you can use as what you say, a decision making pyramid to decide what is the minimum thing I have to give now versus later. Cheers, thanks.
Absolutely well articulated, sir. Now, yeah, absolutely, no, brilliantly articulated. So I took a very simple example of cake, but there are, in the technology world, look at Apple. Apple used to be transformative innovation. Now it's incremental innovation, right? Every phone of iPhone, every series of theirs adds a new feature rather than waiting for 4 years to kind of bring um, uh, the best of the lot. They do something every year. Yes, absolutely. 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 See, you look at Maruti, right? They entered the market, and every year they brought 5 to 6 models, and today where they are, right? Imagine if they would have waited for 6 years to do a market survey. Imagine if they would have brought a lot of features, probably someone else would have taken the market.
All right. So it's truly been candid conversations. Thank you so much for the active participation. We would like to thank Kavaldeep for taking the courage to propose a topic and delivering an awesome talk here. We like to give you a small word of thanks. May I request Vivek to please hand over a token of appreciation. So if I were to connect the sessions so far today, in the keynote we learned we need to love problems. And the prior session here, we were to bulldoze any obstacles. And right now we heard, eventually we need to bring a smile to our customers. That may not be enough, or that may not happen unless we have laser sharp focus. To help us understand how does our brain work and how we can effectively use to gain this laser sharp focus and delight customers, we have our next speaker, Ajay George. He's a market research analyst at Infosys, and he's a budding product leader. Please welcome Ajay George.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ajay. I work as a market research analyst with Infosys. I'll soon be transitioning into a client solution lead at Infosys. So, in my work, every day when I land up at office, the first things that we do, we check our mails, and because I'm in the market research field, I do a lot of research, primary as well as secondary research with the electricity sector, that is the utility sector, with the that is the geography of US and Europe specifically. And as I open my mails and I start reading them, I immediately get calls from the sales team. They say, Ajay, we need you in one of these sessions here because we have to talk to the client, and because you know the geography well, you know what's happening in the utilities, you know what's the latest trend, we want you in that call. So I immediately make note of it and I start preparing for that session. I will start understanding what the client wants, and with the prior research that we have done, I'll start planning for it. And after that, I go on with my mails, and immediately I get a call from the technology team. They say, we want to know what are the latest technology trends that's affecting the electricity sector. We want to know what's happening with solar. We want to know what's happening with renewables. So what are the latest technologies there? So we want you in the solutionizing, or we want to build a POV, and this is of high priority. And I'll start building on what's required for that particular sector, or what's needed for that particular team. And after a while, after some more time, and I start going through some more mails, and then I immediately get call from my manager, tells me that, you know what, Ajay, I think our board is focusing on wind energy. So now we want you to shift focus from solar to wind energy. So I immediately go back to all my research databases and start checking many things. And before I get the next call, I'm already frustrated and I'm pulled from all directions. And I'm pretty sure this is something that all of us go through. The sales team pulls me, the marketing team pulls me, sometimes even the board of directors also pull me for some of the strategic things that they need to do. So I feel I'm hard pressed for time, I'm frustrated, and I don't know what I should be doing next. and I feel my brain is overwhelmed and I feel incapacitated and I feel the product or the output that I finally come up with is not up to the standard. So I tried to see what is that I could do to improve myself and understand myself better so that I could give a better output and manage myself better. Okay, so I started reading a lot of books, I started meeting people, I started meeting a lot of mentors and tried to understand how do I get over this situation and see how productive I could be. So as from the learning that I've had is, as you learn how your mind works or how your brain works, you understand better about yourself, and that gives you enough freedom and it gives you enough confidence about what you should do next. So your brain has got two important parts. So the first important part is your prefrontal cortex, and the second part is the ganglia. The prefrontal cortex is the part where your active thinking happens. So right now when I am standing here in my prefrontal cortex, it's about what is that I am going to speak next. What is the next slide which is going to come up. So all those information that needs to come up or that I am actively thinking is what comes in my prefrontal cortex. In my basal ganglia, what I have is things like if you are driving back home every day if you're driving back at the end of the day from your office back home, and if you have been doing it for a really long time, sometimes you just realize that you just started your car and you reached home. So that was a repetitive activity which by practice has got into your basal ganglia. So you don't have to put that in your prefrontal cortex. So you don't need active thinking. So prefrontal cortex consumes a lot of energy, and that is why maybe a truck driver who's driving for almost 24 hours in a day may not be tired at all because it's his basal ganglia that's kicking in. But if you are actively thinking for even an hour, you feel really very tired. So this energy that you have is very limited. So this prefrontal cortex requires a lot of energy. So you want to make the optimum use of that energy that you have. The prefrontal cortex or the active mind, I want you to equate that to a stage. Example, this stage. On this stage, I am an actor now, and I want you to think the prefrontal cortex is the stage. And on this stage, I am bringing some actors. Who are those actors? That is the information or what I am speaking right now. That is the thing that you want to get on stage. Now, what is the audience? The audience is the memory or the experiences or your own thoughts about things. So let me make this very clear. The prefrontal cortex is like the stage, and you bring actors onto the stage. And in the audience, you have parts of that memory. So now, whatever things which I am going to tell you next are things that you know for sure, but I will give you enough motivation and inspiration to do those things. These are daily activities, these are things that you already know. Prioritizing. Right from keynote till the last session, we have heard why it is important to prioritize. The key element, or why is it really very important for you to prioritize? So as I said, the prefrontal cortex or the active thinking requires a lot of energy. Now in prioritizing, what happens is that you are looking into the future. Or maybe if I can give you a simple example. You have to host a Zimbabwean couple for dinner tonight. So now as soon as I give you that thought, what are the things that come to your mind? A Zimbabwean couple is there. There is a dining table. You're also thinking, what is their staple food? What is that they want for dinner? So these are all the things that is coming into your mind right now. So what's happening on your stage, on your prefrontal cortex? The Zimbabwean couple is coming. The dinner is coming. You're thinking about how to arrange the table. You're also thinking about how to host them. You're also thinking about what is the conversation that you need to have with them. So on your prefrontal cortex, which has very limited energy, you're bringing in so many actors, and that is going to consume a lot of energy, and it is not effective to have many people on the stage. Now if I have another 3 more speakers, nothing is going into the audience. So that is why it is very important to see who are the actors that you have on stage. In prioritizing, what's happening is, I am looking into the future. And when I look into the future, there are so many more variables. And each of those variables is vying for energy, or is vying for that elusive spot in the mind. And that consumes a lot of energy. So you want to do the prioritizing when you are most awake or when you have most energy. So for me, it is as soon as I wake up. That is why every single day when I wake up, the first thing that I do is prioritize. Multitasking. We have all heard about multitasking, and as aspiring product manager, I know you will have to be talking to the sales team, the marketing team, the board, the business team. So when people are pulling you from different directions, you feel, yes, if I can multitask, it's an awesome thing to do. But can actually multitask? The Harvard study says that if you are doing 2 cognitive tasks at the same time, even a Harvard MBA graduate feels like a 7th standard student. So what do I mean by cognitive task? So right now I am talking to you, that is a cognitive task. All my prefrontal cortex or on my stage, it's all the information about these slides that I want to talk about. But can I also think about what is that I want to do later on in the evening at this point of time? No, I can't do that. So they are 2 cognitive tasks. But whilst I am talking to you, I can probably look at this phone, or I can keep rotating my arm, because this action is not a cognitive task. I don't need any actors on the stage. So multitasking is possible only if the other task is non-cognitive. Handling distractions. A lot in this era, there is enough and more distractions that we have. They say the span of attention is less than 7 seconds. I would say it's less than 5 seconds. Because in YouTube you see it's just that 5 seconds of ad that you see before you can skip it. So distractions are there everywhere. So 2 kinds. The external distractions that you have either with Twitter or with your WhatsApp especially, or Facebook feeds. These are all the things that will externally distract you. What do you do for them? Simple. Turn them off. As simple as that. Why do you need to do that? What is the inspiration for you to do that? That is because every single time you go back to WhatsApp and check, remember you're bringing WhatsApp and your friends onto that prefrontal cortex, which has very limited energy. So what do you want to do with the most optimum, or what is the most optimum use of that energy? You want to do it, you want to use that in your work, right? You don't want to waste that energy doing something which is not useful. So the next time you check WhatsApp, just think, what are the actors that you're bringing on the stage, and is it useful for you? Internal distractions. Now whilst I'm speaking here, if I need to rush to the loo, there is nothing that I can talk about. Because it's biological. I can't do anything about it. That is human. So is fear, anger, and probably even certain urges that you have. So when you have these urges, what do? When you have a particular urge, you tell yourself, okay, I'm having this urge for hunger now. You are labeling that emotion. And by labeling that emotion, what is going to happen? You are actually telling the mind, yes, that's about to happen, and it gives you choices, which otherwise you would have fallen to that urge and you would have continued in that path. But when you tell your mind, yes, this is what I'm going to, this is what is happening to me, then you're getting a choice to do it or not do it. It's also called as state awareness. You can read more about it. Mindfulness. So now I have told you about the stage that we have, and this stage, very few actors can come, and it's limited time only that they can come. Now when there are people on the stage, you need to know who should come on the stage, who should get out of the stage, who should be there for optimum time, and all those things. So there needs to be a director for this stage. So the director may be a one step level above and says, okay, these are the people who will come onto the stage now. These are the thoughts that you need to be thinking. So that is what the director, that is the aspect of state aware. So right now, if you are seeing me and if you are perceiving what I am saying, or you are understanding each and every single word that I am saying, then you are state aware about what's happening around you, and that is mindfulness. Or if I can give you a very simple example, if you go to a beach and then you see it's a lovely, wonderful, sunlit day, you're with your kids and enjoying, but at the same time you could also be thinking, oh, did I lock my door properly, or there could be a robber there, or there could be some theft there. What's happening is you are not being mindful, or you are not being state aware. Instead of enjoying the breeze and the sunlight, you are just thinking about what is irrelevant to you. So that is mindfulness. So with that, I come to the end of my short talk. So most of the resources that I've got from is the book from David Rock, that is Your Brain at Work, and a few TED Talks as well from him. So this has really helped me in my work in the last 6 months. So I'm sure you guys also would find it useful in your work as well.
Thank you so much, Ajay. I'm sure we are all energized by the dose of brain beta. At the same time, I can sense some of you are practicing to shut up the internal urge of hunger. To not practice it long enough, I open the floor for a couple of questions before we break for lunch. Any questions from the audience, please?
Coming to, you have given the example that you pulled in 3 directions. What was your action on that?
Yeah, so I think I did not relate back to the first this one. So when the sales team or the marketing or my boss calls, so early in the morning, what I do is I prioritize. What are the tasks that I need to do? Some of them come up, ad hoc basis. So because I have these top 3 priorities that I need to do, it will be easier for me to allocate them at that point of time. So that time I'm telling my mind, okay, these are important, these need to be done now, maybe we can reprioritize. But the first thing that I would do is prioritize instead of getting into the work immediately.
Any other questions?
As a data scientist, you can manage your time very easily, as you said. So like me, a farmer, any tips to give? I'm following something like getting things done from 10 to 11. So what I do is I tend to finish up whatever task which can be done within 2 minutes. Rest I will break into small portions. I'll try to delegate to someone. Whatever's left over, I'll try to do it, or I will postpone it. It's there's a bucket I'm following up. Not now, later, like that. But still I'm able to manage it. Every day I'm having about 40, 50 tasks piling up. Is there any other tips? You said like prioritize, right? How to prioritize like now?
So you're telling almost everything is equal priority, and then
So like I'm in my company, like I'm looking after right from farming, production, marketing, everything. So I cannot prioritize my task only to farming alone. So I have to equally do some tasks, right? Let's say I have three tasks from each department. It will be like 15 farming.
so priority it can be in terms of
Time
what
factor,
the time
impact
factor obviously, but more importantly it could be about what is the organizational goal.
Yeah.
So
what I'm asking is, as a data scientist, you'll be using a lot of simple solutions, right? You will like write down a diary, or you'll be having some apps.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Or you can
Give us some tips like
yeah.
how you are prioritizing your work.
So for me, it is the outlook. Sometimes it may just be scratchpad. I also use an app called Trello, which is very useful. That is, Trello is something which you can collaborate with your friends as well. So as soon as you have any tasks or anything to be assigned, we have also used that for our idea incubation. So whenever you're traveling by bus to office and something comes up in your mind and then you feel you should assign the task to someone, so you do that. So these are some of the tools that I use.
Allow me to answer your question. I forgot the name of the person. He is an ex-army man. He came out with this model called urgent and important matrix. Just Google it and use it. It works. Yeah, just start using that. And I think he's also made a app of that. I forgot the name of that app. If I find, I'll send it to you. Just Google for urgent prioritization, urgent important matrix image, and you will get it.
Like handling distractions, so that today's our office emails, we cannot do that. Many email is not distraction, but after that thinking of that,
No, you mean to say the social interactions,
I'm
WhatsApp?
talking about office emails. You already prioritize start of day, but
Yeah.
in the day you get a lot of emails. It may distract your current work.
That is true. So what I do is, as soon as I reach office, the first 10-15 minutes, I will know, okay, what are the tasks to do, and I will also check as many mails as possible. What I do after that is, I switch off my phone. I also close my email for 2 hours, because at that time, I need to do some priority task, where my mind needs most energy. I finish that task, maybe in the afternoon what I do, I pick up some other task which doesn't need a lot of energy to expend. At that time I keep all these things on and I just reply to what the message is.
So about emails, so what you said is it's called sandboxing.
Yeah,
It's a fantastic thing. There's a lot of stuff available on sandboxing. The second thing about emails, I was operations that I used to get 350 emails every day on an average. So first of all, don't read email like a phone call. I have to, like you said, now I have to park it and I have to learn it quite consciously. The internal, distraction, like what is it. The second thing is there is a simple rule set on color coding that every email thing allows you. If it is sent only to you, mark it red. If it is sent also to you, mark it, let's say, different color or blue. And if it is copied to you, just forget about it. Yeah, only look at the reds and the blues. The rest of it is anyway kachra. And if it is urgent, anyway people will SMS, call, sit on your red anyway. But not that your emails to you.
If it is urgent, they will anyway call.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, in the interest of time, I'd like to thank Ajay George for coming up here and presenting a wonderful talk on our esteemed guests who had more inputs to offer to please give a gift to the speaker. And we also want to give for one person who asked interesting questions. May I request gentleman there, please?
So I will bring it.
Thank you so much. I look forward to your participation online as well. We have a website, productthinking.org. You can post your blogs of your expertise, of your findings. Feel free, it's an open platform. We look forward to as much participation as possible. There is feedback form in your kit. Please make a point to give your feedback. There's also a number that you can call up and give your response. Thank you so much. Have a great lunch ahead and a wonderful session further on. Thank you so much.
And as Pinkesh said, good job. You are the one with the yellow card.
Thanks. It was crossing the